Welcome to this episode of Intel Focus, the review series. Today, we're talking about digital forensics.
Right.
It's like detective work, but online. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good analogy. Instead of dusting for fingerprints, we're sifting through the ones and zeros.
Okay, so we're diving into the world of digital forensics. Essentially, it's all about finding evidence in the digital world, right?
Hmm.
But how does that actually work? I mean, is it just about like finding deleted files or?
Well, it's far more intricate than that.
Sure.
Imagine a suspect deletes a photo from their phone. Digital forensics doesn't just recover that photo.
Right.
It can reveal when it was taken, where, and potentially even what device was used. It's about uncovering the story behind the data.
That's incredible. So it's not just about retrieving lost data. It's about piecing together a narrative from digital traces.
Precisely. And this narrative can be used in all sorts of cases.
Okay.
For instance, let's say a company's network is hit with ransomware. Digital forensics can help trace the attack back to its origin, identify the culprit, and even reveal how they infiltrated the system.
So it's applicable to cybercrime, but could it also be used in like a traditional criminal investigation?
Absolutely. Think of a hit-and-run case. Investigators might analyze data from nearby traffic cameras, GPS devices, or even fitness trackers to corroborate witness statements or place a suspect at the scene.
Wow. So it seems like anything that leaves a digital footprint can become potential evidence.
That's exactly right. And just like with physical evidence, ensuring the integrity of this digital data is paramount. Any mishandling could render it inadmissible in court.
Oh, that makes sense. You wouldn't want a crucial piece of evidence thrown out just because of a procedural error.
So how did this field even come about? Was it born out of, like, the rise of the internet?
Well, the roots of digital forensics actually go back further than you might think, to the 1980s when personal computers began to proliferate. As computers became more commonplace, so did the potential for crimes involving them. So the need for this kind of investigation arose alongside the technology itself.
Right.
It seems almost inevitable.
Indeed. And as cybercrime started to surge in the late 90s and early 2000s, digital forensics evolved from a niche field to a standardized practice, particularly within law enforcement.
I can see why that would be necessary.
Yeah.
With the digital world expanding so rapidly, investigators would need consistent procedures to handle this new type of evidence.
Precisely. And today, with our lives so intertwined with technology, the importance of digital forensics has grown exponentially. Think about it. We leave digital traces everywhere we go, from our browsing history and social media activity to our location data and financial transactions.
It's almost like a constant digital shadow following us everywhere. But how do investigators even begin to make sense of this deluge of data? What does a typical digital forensics investigation actually look like?
Well, imagine a digital crime scene. The first step is to secure the area, which, in this case, means isolating and preserving any devices that might contain relevant evidence. This prevents data from being accidentally overwritten or tampered with.
So it's similar to cordoning off a physical crime scene.
Right.
You want to prevent, contamination of the evidence.
Exactly. Once the scene is secured, investigators create forensic duplicates of the devices. These are exact copies that preserve the original data in its pristine state.
So they're not working directly on the original devices. Why is that so important?
Well, working on the original device could potentially alter the data, even inadvertently. Forensic copies allow investigators to analyze the evidence without the risk of compromising its integrity. This is crucial for ensuring its admissibility in court.
So it's like having a backup, but with much higher stakes. They need to be absolutely certain they're not altering the evidence in any way.
Precisely. And once they have these pristine copies, the real detective work begins the examination phase.
Okay, so they've secured the data, made their copies. What happens during this examination phase? Are they just looking for deleted files?
It's far more multifaceted than that. Investigators are combing through a vast amount of data, including deleted files, internet history, emails, chat logs, metadata, and even hidden files.
Wow.
They might use specialized software to recover deleted data, analyze file timestamps, or even uncover hidden messages embedded within seemingly innocent files using techniques like steganography.
Steganography.
Wow.
That sounds like something out of a spy movie.
It might sound fantastical, but it's a real technique used to conceal information within other data. Think of it like hiding a secret message within a digital image.
So investigators are essentially playing digital detectives, piecing together clues from a vast and often fragmented digital landscape.
That's a great way to put it. And this meticulous examination phase is crucial for laying the groundwork for the next stage, the analysis phase.
So they've gathered all this data, sifted through it, uncovered hidden clues. What happens during the analysis phase?
This is where the raw data is transformed into actionable intelligence. Specialists will use a variety of techniques and tools to extract meaning from the evidence. They might analyze patterns in internet activity, track the flow of funds, or even reconstruct the sequence of events leading up to a crime.
So it's not just about finding the data. It's about understanding what it means and how it fits into the bigger picture.
Precisely. They're looking for connections, corroborations, and ultimately a coherent narrative that explains what happened and who was involved.
Sounds like a complex process
Yeah.
requiring a unique blend of technical expertise and investigative skills. But all this effort culminates in a final report, right?
Yes, the final report is the culmination of the entire investigation. It summarizes the findings, explains the methodologies used, and presents a clear and concise account of the events.
So it's not just about presenting the evidence. It's about telling a story, a digital story, that can be used to understand what happened, hold individuals accountable, and potentially prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future.
Exactly, and this report often becomes a crucial piece of evidence in legal proceedings, helping to bring perpetrators to justice.
It's fascinating how digital forensics has evolved from its early days of simply recovering deleted files to this sophisticated field of investigation, capable of uncovering hidden truths within the vast digital realm. And speaking of evolution, I'm curious about the tools themselves. How have they changed over time?
Oh, well, the evolution of tools in digital forensics is a fascinating tale in itself. In the early days, things were much more rudimentary. Imagine trying to piece together fragments of data from a floppy disk with limited computing power and specialized software.
Must have been like trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing.
Precisely. But as technology advanced, so did the tools at the disposal of digital forensic investigators. The advent of hard drives and later solid-state drives presented new challenges but also new opportunities.
So they had to constantly adapt to keep up with the ever-changing landscape of digital storage.
Yeah.
What were some of the key breakthroughs in, forensic tools?
Well, the development of forensic imaging software was a major game changer. This allowed investigators to create exact replicas of hard drives and other storage media without altering the original data.
Right, we discussed that earlier. It's crucial for maintaining the integrity of the evidence.
Absolutely. And then came the rise of sophisticated analysis tools that could delve deeper into the data, uncovering hidden files, deleted data, and even patterns in user activity.
So they were no longer just looking at individual files, but also at the connections between them and the bigger picture of user behavior.
Exactly. And as the internet became ubiquitous, network forensics emerged as a critical subfield.
Network forensics. What exactly does that entail?
It's about analyzing network traffic to understand how data moves across a network. This can be crucial for tracing the origins of cyber attacks, identifying compromised systems, and even reconstructing online conversations.
It sounds incredibly complex. Are there specific tools designed for network forensics?
Absolutely. There's a whole suite of tools that can capture, analyze, and visualize network traffic. They allow investigators to sift through massive amounts of data to identify suspicious patterns and reconstruct the digital trail of an attack.
So it's like having a digital magnifying glass for the internet.
That's a great analogy. And as mobile devices became ubiquitous, mobile device forensics also emerged as a specialized field. Smartphones, tablets, and even smartwatches are now potential treasure troves of evidence.
I imagine extracting data from a mobile device presents its own set of challenges.
Indeed. Mobile devices have their own unique operating systems, storage methods, and security protocols. Forensic investigators need specialized tools and techniques to access and analyze data from these devices.
So it's not just about having one tool that can do it all. They need a whole arsenal of specialized tools for different types of devices and data.
Exactly. And the tools are constantly evolving to keep pace with the latest technologies and encryption methods.
It's a bit of an arms race, isn't it? As technology advances, so do the methods used to commit crimes, and forensic tools need to keep up.
That's exactly right. It's a constant challenge for digital forensic investigators to stay ahead of the curve and develop new techniques and tools to uncover the truth hidden within the digital world.
Speaking of staying ahead of the curve, we touched upon DFIR earlier. It seems like a particularly innovative approach, merging digital forensics with incident response.
It is. It's a recognition that in the face of a cyber attack or data breach, Speed and efficiency are paramount, but so is the preservation of evidence.
Traditionally, these two goals were often at odds with each other. Incident response teams were focused on containing the damage as quickly as possible, while forensic investigators were concerned with meticulously preserving evidence. How does DFIR bridge that gap?
Well, DFIR brings together the expertise of both incident responders and forensic investigators, allowing them to work in a coordinated manner. Think of it as a seamless handoff of information.
So instead of working in silos, they're collaborating from the outset. That makes sense.
Precisely. And this collaboration allows them to achieve both objectives simultaneously, containing the threat and preserving crucial evidence for future analysis.
So it's about finding a balance between responding to the immediate crisis and gathering the information needed to understand what happened and hold perpetrators accountable.
Exactly. And this holistic approach leads to faster recovery times, more effective incident response, and ultimately, stronger legal cases.
It seems like DFIR is a game changer in the world of cybersecurity. But what are some of the key challenges facing digital forensics as we move further into the digital age?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is the sheer volume of data we generate every day. Think of all the devices we use, the websites we visit, the information we share. Sifting through this mountain of data to find relevant evidence is like trying to find a needle in a digital haystack.
It's a bit overwhelming to think about, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's only going to get more challenging as technology continues to advance. Are there any other significant hurdles on the horizon?
The increasing sophistication of cyber attacks is another major challenge. Hackers are constantly developing new techniques to cover their tracks and evade detection. This requires forensic investigators to constantly innovate and develop new tools and strategies to keep up.
It's an ongoing cat-and-mouse game. But beyond the technical challenges, are there any legal or ethical considerations that impact digital forensics?
Absolutely. Privacy concerns are paramount. Forensic investigators need to operate within the bounds of the law and respect individual privacy rights. This often means obtaining warrants and following strict procedures to ensure the admissibility of evidence.
It's a delicate balance between uncovering the truth and protecting individual liberties.
Indeed. And as technology continues to evolve, so too will the legal and ethical landscape surrounding digital forensics. It's an area that requires constant vigilance and adaptation.
So we've journeyed through this intricate world of digital forensics, uncovering its evolution, exploring its tools and techniques, and even peering into its future. It's been quite a revelation, hasn't it?
Indeed, it's a field that often operates behind the scenes, but its impact on our lives is undeniable. From solving crimes to protecting our digital identities, digital forensics plays a crucial role in our increasingly interconnected world.
Absolutely. So let's take a moment to recap some of the key takeaways from our deep dive today. We started by understanding the fundamental purpose of digital forensics, to uncover the truth hidden within the digital realm. It's about finding evidence, piecing together narratives, and ultimately revealing what happened and who was involved. Right? And we explored the meticulous process involved, from securing the digital crime scene and creating forensic duplicates to the intricate examination and analysis phases, where specialists use a variety of tools and techniques to extract meaning from the data.
Right.
We also delved into the fascinating evolution of this field, from its humble beginnings with floppy disks and rudimentary tools to the sophisticated software and techniques used today to analyze everything from hard drives and mobile devices to network traffic and cloud data. And we discussed the critical importance of maintaining the integrity of digital evidence, ensuring chain of custody, and adhering to strict legal and ethical guidelines throughout the entire process. Without these safeguards, the value of digital evidence can be compromised, potentially undermining an entire investigation or legal case.
Absolutely.
And as we peered into the future, we discussed the emerging trends that are likely to shape the field of digital forensics. From the rise of artificial intelligence and its potential to automate tasks, predict criminal activity, and develop new forensic tools, to the growing importance of cloud computing and the challenges it presents for accessing and analyzing data stored in vast, decentralized networks.
Right. The future of digital forensics is both exciting and challenging. As technology continues to advance at an unprecedented pace, so too will the methods used to commit crimes, and forensic investigators will need to constantly adapt and innovate to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, it's a constant game of cat and mouse, but one that is crucial for upholding justice, protecting our digital identities, and ensuring a safer and more secure digital world.
And as our reliance on technology continues to grow, the role of digital forensics will only become more prominent in our lives. It's a field that deserves our attention and understanding, for it touches upon fundamental aspects of our digital society: privacy, security, justice, and the pursuit of truth in an increasingly complex digital landscape.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of digital forensics. It's been an enlightening journey, and I hope our listeners have gained a newfound appreciation for the intricate work that goes into uncovering the truth hidden within the digital realm.
It certainly has, and it's been a pleasure sharing my insights, and I encourage our listeners to continue exploring this ever-evolving field. The more we understand about digital forensics, the better equipped we'll be to navigate the challenges and opportunities of our increasingly digital world.
And that's it for this episode of Intel Focus. Until next time.